I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigar.
Don't be an asshole today.
Really good to see you again.
Oh, it's good seeing you guys as well.
Yeah, you look fantastic. Look at you, the working out, that. Wow.
Pumping all the iron.
Pumping all that iron.
Very inspiring. I've been watching you guys working out and your weight loss, Laura Leigh, is amazing. You guys look great.
I appreciate it. I'm on that what do they call it? The divorce diet.
You know, they do have the breakup 40, they call it. We all go through the breakup 40.
Oh no. I'm going through a breakup right now.
Oh, you don't have 40. You don't have 40.
You don't have 40 to spare.
People are going to be worried. I'm going to have to anchor it. I hope the wind doesn't blow.
Right?
And then kind of towards the end of it all, like I would come around every now and then. Again, like I had a separate life. Laura Leigh is still very important to me though, you know, top 3. So I would still come around, but even more so, like when I did, I was just kind of like, we're still doing that, you know, like, before the wedding, you were like, are you sure? Okay, I didn't know if I could say that. I didn't know. It wasn't even before the wedding. Like it was whenever they first started dating. I went outside on like the back patio, and I was like, Laura Leigh, what is it about? Like, what is it about this person? You know? Can I tell them what you said?
Was it
embarrassed? I'm gonna say
you could tell. Was it?
No, it was her credit score.
Oh.
And that, in my opinion, to defend myself a little bit, because I know it sounds horrible. In my opinion, it because of some of my past relationships, I was like, okay, so it was like a broader thing to me of where, okay, she's responsible. She's got it together. You know, it was more of a sign of like adult
maturity.
Yeah, like
stability, maturity, all the things that, you know, initially you need to start a family and have a long-term relationship, and you know all this.
So she had a good credit score, and that was her reason.
Little did I know. I guess her parents had started it for her.
It was her parents. So all these things come to light, but you just kept hurdling, right? You just kind of, you know, right by the red flags, just hurtling towards marriage, children. You know,
I was in a place in my life at a time where I felt like, all right, I'm getting older. You know, I was done with my party phase in life, and it was just like I knew the red flags that I didn't want. I knew the quality that I would settle down with, and it was just like I wanted, you know, someone I thought that had their finances in order, someone I thought was actually ready for that adult marriage life, and that's what I thought I was presented with, was an independent woman. All the women who independent.
You know, I think maybe the clue, and this is just me, was in the title of the show. That perhaps
I
rolled with it though, because Lauren was completely different from anybody that I'd ever seen Laura Leigh date, right? And you could just say it. We had a lot of bad choices back in our day. Me and this one used to strip club.
Hey, I totally can relate to that. And when
we love those strippers, you know.
Yeah.
Well, in New Orleans, right?
We did, right? Payday,
give me that money.
Right.
We grew up. Yeah.
You know. And by the way, I was the one with the good credit score back then. I was not the one in the bars.
I never was.
Obviously,
I'm migrating to Threads to get away from Twitter because it's so bad for your mental health. like social media. Like I am so learning. I posted a picture because I got new glasses, and I posted a picture forgetting that it was Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, the junk.
Yeah.
Like, all of
Pull
a
apart.
sudden, like I got all this hate for posting, like, oh, you're ugly, you're fat, you're a Democrat, you're a libtard, you're this, you're that, and I'm like,
My God.
Jeez.
like, so I took that, and
There's there's so many keyboard warriors out there.
they're
They're
so
fierce.
sickening. They're
I like
keyboard
your
warriors.
glass.
So, but I took that incident and I posted that on Threads to test the water of how people are on Threads. And I doubled my followers and I had over 2,500 likes and retweets and welcome, you're beautiful, your glasses are awesome. It was like falling on a downfilled duvet, after going off a cliff of rocks, and it was just like, wow, like unbelievable the difference. And I think I always knew, that there were elements of social media that are really bad for you, but I always felt like I rose above it and I was so diplomatic about everything, and like, yeah, it's bad, but it's just politics, it's fine. But man, when they come at you personally, I was like, like the lip was quivering. I'm like, what was that?
Oh, look, I already knew when Reagan was born, I was like, we're not posting pictures of her in a car seat. Because the first time she got posted in the car seat, immediately it was the buckle where it was placed.
Oh my God.
Like the inches between the arm, and I'm just like, it's my first time. We did the best we could.
It's ridiculous. It's like there's just an army of people that sit like
they're ready. They're
so
ready to go.
Pounce.
It's good about I just don't want to have sex. It's too much work. Just too much work. Now, when I have this thing where the person's on top of me and his teeth fall out and I got it, back in.
I don't think you did that. No, I
Yeah. It is. It's just too much work. I can't we just play Scrabble?
Can we just have soft food?
Soft food. Yeah.
Something safe.
Some tapioca, some custard. Let's go for custard.
Some custard and play a little Scrabble. I mean, really, that's what our nights are winding down to, But it's just great to hear someone else say it.
Isn't that true? That's such a great, that's what I love about everything about you is the courage about you transitioning and then doing what you're doing at your age, because people always think they're too old to chase a dream or to try something different. And my God, you did different like no one else. And I wanted to ask you, how did this affect your career? Because you were headlining before you transitioned. Did it help you after? Did it hurt? How did that work?
It didn't. It was, the comedy community is very small. We all know each other pretty much, especially, East Coast comics. We all know each other from the trenches. And I heard when I got out of comedy, because I was out for 10 years, that the rumor about me was that I had lost my mind and had a sex change. And both of which are true to a certain extent. But I didn't go, I wasn't in a home or anything. I was teaching. In middle school. When I came back, interestingly, there were people who thought I couldn't be funny having gone through this. And so they made people that I had known for 20 years made me audition for their club again. I know, right? But you know what? I'm a trooper. Yeah, you want me to audition? I'll audition. Yeah. And then came America's Got Talent, and everything changed.
Yeah.
Was that the shift that really brought you to the forefront?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Which it did.
Yeah.
And so they got what they wanted from me. I got what I wanted from them. I got 3 appearances on the show. Each time 12 million people. You can't buy that kind of.
Yeah, that's an audience right there, you know.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's funny because when you get kicked off the show at the end, there's a psychologist off stage waiting for you.
Oh,
Because they don't want people jumping off the building when they get back to the hotel, you know.
Yeah.
And I've been knocking around for 30 years already. It was a young British woman too. All the staff on there, the main staff is British because it's a British company.
Right.
But she said to me, she goes, well, may I talk to you for a minute? I said, sure, what's up? She goes, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm the staff psychologist. I just want to make sure that she was right outside backstage. And now the other 2 losers who got kicked off, they're fucking crying. They're like weeping. Right? And I'm walking off like that. She goes, are you sure you're okay? I said, I stopped her. I said, let me tell you something. Let me tell you a couple of things. I've been doing this for 20 years at that point, 30 years, whatever it was. And it was 30. And I said, I'm from Jersey. Okay. I've been tackled on stage. I have worked in places where they throw drinks at me. This is and I'm telling her this. This is the greatest fucking thing that's ever happened to me in my life. I said, I don't need you. Thanks a lot. Go talk to those people because they look like they're going to jump off the roof when they get back to the hotel. And that was it. And I walked out. I was happy as a clam, man.
It's hilarious, man. That is so funny.
Then I'll tell you this story because it's actually fun. So the gynecologist, it's a woman. She's examining me, and she's that she's doing her thing, and she's like going, She goes, and her head. Well, I see her head come up, right? She goes, yeah, you see that? She goes, this is beautiful. I go, well, thank you.
And it's got that new car smell.
I did. I went for the Jane Fonda model. I think that the Barbarella model. That's the one I got.
Fonda model.
Yeah. She goes, honest to God, she goes, if I didn't know, I wouldn't know. I go, well,
wow.
That's encouraging.
That's quite a compliment. Yeah.
Because I've never seen it. I mean, how do you look at it? Mirror, it doesn't.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's really quite the compliment, I would imagine. Yeah. Right.
Terrible.
Unless you're in LA, Denise. The LA lesbians are totally different.
Oh, completely.
Sounds like a soccer team, doesn't it? The LA lesbians.
The LA lesbians were brutal when I went in 2009. Me and my fat friend, we were just like, I swear to God, I felt like we were on display. Like people were just like.
I have had several occasions where I've been in a bar and I've met somebody that I would like to, get to know better. And inevitably I have to tell them because I won't go with somebody that doesn't know.
Sure. Yeah.
I just don't think that's fair. The first time I told this woman, you could see there was a visible change in her countenance. And she just said, well, I can't do this. Thank you. It's like I was trying to sell a life insurance. Thank you, but I'm not interested right now.
I don't understand that. I really don't. Like that's the kind of stuff I would love to go, well, all right, okay. But I need to know the logic behind it.
I'll tell you what I think it is. It's politics. It's political.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of lesbians find their identity in their gayness. Okay. And I do this joke in my act that I said, straight men don't want to sleep with me because they still think of me as a man, and that would make them gay. Lesbians don't think of me as they think of me as a man, and if they slept with me, that would make them straight. I said, my dilemma is I'm caught between a cock and a hard place. and I always felt like something was wrong. I was like, I never felt right, which is why I thought, oh, maybe I'm gay. I must be gay. It's the only explanation.
Right.
And then I venture forth. and maybe, be with a man and then throw up afterwards. And I'm like, what? Okay, guys.
Can't be right.
Throwing up. Yeah, they seem relatively happy. They're not throwing up.
That's
You're an
fantastic.
absolute inspiration, Julia. I really enjoyed speaking with you, meeting
Well, I
you.
did too. I enjoyed this a lot. Thank you.
I'm
very
like,
much.
yeah, thank you so much for spending an hour with us. That's crazy.
Oh my God, has it been an hour? Please look at this.
Usually people are squirming after 30
You
minutes.
know who I am? Ah.
So, I think this is a fantastic cap off to our Pride Month too. So that's,
Yes.
thank you again for that. That's amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much.
So I was like, oh, I should write the lesbian national anthem for my live stream just for one of our like song challenges. And then I played it, didn't think anything of it. And I was like, you know what, I'll record it and put it on TikTok. And then it got a lot, like several, like 40, 50,000 views. And I didn't think anything of it. And then a few months went by and I was like, I'm going to repost it for like some gay event, holiday or whatever. And that's when it caught traction and started like really, really gaining some tread. But yeah, now it's like more people have heard it, and it's kind of been is what people remember me by when they come see my show. They're like, I know that song. I'm like, oh.
You just hit on every one of our like stereotypical points, that we're all aware of. You know what I mean?
It's just, they're stereotypes because they're true. I drive a Subaru. I have these hiking shoes. The only thing I don't have is currently I don't have a pet with any ex-girlfriends, but I have in the past.
See? So yeah, we're so predictable and stereotypical and stuff, and it's okay for us to make fun of it, but nobody else, unless you are a card-carrying lesbian.
Well, because we know the truth is, like, for every woman that wears cargo shorts, there's a lady in a skirt. That lesbians really look like everybody. There is a lesbian that checks every single box. If you can see a person out in the world, like some lesbians look like moms and grandmothers, and then some lesbians look like straight men. A lot of lesbians look like gay men. Yeah, a lesbian could be sitting next to you right now.
It's so true. We play that at the airport. Most people play gay or European, and we're like, it's so fun.
We're like, oh my God, yeah, I've got a lesbian aunt. I can tell them anything. You really can. You can tell us about your sex and your drugs. It's still like, when I heard my niece the first time, just really give her, it's like a Catholic confessional. The whole time I was like, yeah, oh yeah, been there. And then as soon as I was like, oh my God, she tried marijuana. I think she's had some sex. But my job is to sit there and just listen like, oh yeah, we go through that. Me too, sister. Woof, yeah, maybe try mushrooms later in life. Not now. Oh, sweetie.
Well, I loved your bit on the nephew when you babysit your nephews, and then you have whatever, the sugar, the candy, whatever, all the rules you get.
That's my job. Yeah. My sister-in-law sends him over with a list of stuff we're not supposed to do, and we wad that up. Yeah, no, we drink root beer, we play Call of Duty, and then bites us in the ass when we forget to ask questions like, "Are you lactose intolerant?" before we go get ice cream.
That's
you only live once.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I've seen a T-shirt that actually says, the cool aunt. Like #hero or shero or something like that, and I'm like, man, that is so perfect.
There's a place that, like, my wife read an article. I don't remember where she read it, but it was like the importance of aunts on society and how important we are as like a non-threatening parental figure that we don't discipline, but we're here with all love, all support, all the time, and it's a safe place to go, especially during a period of time in like a kid's life when they're not sure where to turn. You turn to your aunts. Yeah. Because I mean, when I was coming out of the closet, I don't know that I came to my aunts for, gay advice, because everybody was pretty not gay friendly, but I did definitely go to them with like, I'm smoking and I'm like smoking weed and I'm drinking and like, and I just knew that they were like, we love you. And they gave me hugs and, one of them had beer with me. It was, I don't know if it's the best thing, but I mean, no harm was done. Right. I just knew I was loved in that kitchen. That's it.
That's it exactly.
Yeah, I'm like, they didn't say lesbian. Let me see if I can get my manager on this. But if it's from lesbians, I'm like, oh no, I got this. I'll talk to the lesbians. It's cool.
That is so perfect. That's a perfect description. That is so true.
I just did a lesbian retirement community in rural Washington. And I told them when I first got there, I was like, you guys, it's the difference. One word mix. If I would have been asked to do a retirement community in rural Washington, I would have been like, no, thank you. When I was asked to do a lesbian retirement community, I was like, fuck yeah, where do I sign? Like, hell yes. And it was so fun.
There was such a thing. That's fantastic. Right?
They keep it pretty deep. You have to be a lesbian to get in. They have legally hired representation to make sure that they can legally discriminate against men, which was my favorite part of being there, was just being on sacred ground where, they were like, we hired a lawyer. You cannot legally sell your property in this retirement community to a man. I was like, fuck yes. This is amazing.
Utopia. Literally utopia.
Everybody there has a dog or a cat. I know because I met every single one of them. They were so kind. There's like a community garden. There's like, anyway, they bring in acts several times a year. Unbelievable, but keep it a secret because they don't want a whole lot of people to know about it.
I bet you it's a very well-run community that looks amazing. Everyone's house probably looked nice.
It was fantastic.
I am so excited you're here today, Katie. I'm really excited to have you on the show. And
Katie,
the Funky Biscuit. What a great, amazing show that was, and what a talent you are. But I didn't know just how multi-talented you are until I was looking at everything you're doing on online, on Instagram in particular. Wow. Wow.
You're too kind. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I mean, your guitar playing and your songwriting and your drumming and all the other instruments you play. You play keyboard as well, right?
Well, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Well, thank you. You're very kind. You're very kind. Thank you. Yeah, and that was a really, really fun show that I met you at. That Funky Biscuit show was so much fun. Yeah, you missed out on a great show, Denise.
I heard. Yeah, it's crazy. I was there in March, for like a month, and I'll be back in November. Like I still, do a lot of back and forth because my parents are getting older now, and I gotta, spend some time and look in and look after them.
I know. I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I want to get back to. I actually from Devon. I don't know if you ventured that far to the south.
I think I went through Devon on my way to Cornwall. Does that make sense?
You did do that, yes. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, it's a great trip. It's such a beautiful area. That coastline is incredible.
No, I know, and I miss it a lot. And now that I'm living in Texas, and it takes a good 3 hours to get to the nearest beach, and it's just like, oh my God, like, it's like a 3-minute walk, But yeah, so I'm spoiled. But are you from Florida then, Denise?
Yeah. Yep.
You are. Oh, no way.
Yeah, just one city over from JD.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how did you two meet?
We've been friends for forever. I used to host a different podcast, and every Pride, I would get to introduce JD.
Our paths crossed a lot. And
then we just wrangled. We wrangled her into like being on our podcast all the time, and then we just like we'd stalk her. We would like call her while she was in the middle of shopping at Target, and when she was on the road, when she was at work, like all the time. So yeah, we just we've been friends forever now. I think forever is a safe.
Pretty much forever. When I was traveling more for my music, I'd call in her show, and I'd be like, it sounded like I was this world traveler, but I really probably wasn't as traveling as much as it seemed. But
we acted like we'd like a famous rock star on. We were all like, we love having rockers on our show.
And also, I mean, I'm a hardcore introvert, and for me, the pandemic and being stuck at home was not a punishment for me personally.
I agree. I loved it.
It was really fine, my wife had a bit of a hard time with it initially because she's an extrovert and she likes to be out and about and she likes to be around people. We're very opposite in that way. But I was fine. And it was actually the one time in my entire life where it's like, my skills are finally going to shine, So it was kind of a little bit difficult to come out of that, where I felt as if I'd finally been able to be fully myself and feel like I could really shine, and then pivot again and go back to what I find so difficult, you know, because everybody's like, oh, you're so talented and you're so amazing. And it's like, yeah, but you don't understand the simple things that everyone else finds easy, I find so difficult, you know, just going out the front door. I find it a very difficult thing to do. It's not easy for me, you know. And, I'm sure you guys heard about the beads saga that happened. I had my beads taken from a
I heard that. Yes, you got them back.
I did, which was just insane. It was totally insane. But I'd taken them off and left them on the side of the stage. And someone, while we weren't there, and by the way, that never happens. I always have them upon my person or they're in my bag. And someone had come on the stage and obviously taken them and walked off with them. And amazingly, after putting out a call and saying, look, you know, no hard feelings, guys, but I can't function right now without these. Like, this is a calming, a grounding thing for me. And without them, I feel really discombobulated. And amazingly, somebody said, yeah, I've got them. I'm sorry. I actually didn't realize they were yours. Someone else gave them to me, whatever.
Oh, wow.
And they actually did bring them back to the venue. And the venue then posted them to me and I did get them back. So it was just like this amazing kind of universe putting everything together and I got them back. But
it was meant to be.
Exactly. Yeah, it was crazy, but it happened like right in the middle of a run of shows where it wasn't like I was at home to kind of be like, okay.
So
yeah, it really threw me for a loop for a couple of days. And again, you know, Sophie and Seth were so kind and nice and you know, helping me trying to get them back. And so yeah, it was amazing and I'm very grateful. Yeah,
I'm shocked that I thought it would be anonymously someone would send them back to you, but they actually owned up. Well, they said someone gave them to them, so you know, you don't know, but
I don't know the full story, but I do know that they said they got home and they were looking at them and they were like, hang on a minute, wasn't that drummer wearing some beads that they take? And they were like, oh my God, we've got Katie Marie's beads. Oh shit. And so they called the venue and said, we think we have the drummer's beads. So yeah, and then they brought them back. They brought them back when they said they were going to. So yeah, it was amazing.
I think that, you know, that would have had to bring some bad karma or juju if you did not give those back to you. I was thinking that when they were missing, you know, I'm like, someone's got to give those back. How could someone think that could be good in any way, right? But
yeah, I agree.
It restores your faith, though, you know, like something like that restores your faith in humanity, you know, that there's still some good out there, even though the world is an absolute friggin' dumpster fire. You know, there's always like something that comes through that makes you go, okay.
Yeah, that's so right. Yeah, so right there, Denise. Yeah, I'm honestly, I honestly didn't think I would get them back, but I was very surprised when it happened because that kind of thing never happens to me ever. I don't get things taken from me, and touch wood, it will stay that way. But I don't know, things like that don't happen to me. The universe takes care of me and people are so kind and so nice to me. And you know what? I think somebody was just really, really drunk. There were a lot of very drunk people at that gig and I think they just came up and just weren't even thinking and then just gave them to some random person. I think. So, I don't think there was any ill intent there, but I agree with you, JD, in that I think it would have been bad karma to not bring them back. How about you?
Interesting. I write, you know, the one thing I can never write is a love song. Like I had a lot of angst too. And I think a lot of my original writing was from me being closeted. As you know, Denise remembers, I was married for 25 years to a man. And so in that marriage, like I realized when I was around 30 something, that it probably wasn't for me. And I was so distracted by trying to have a baby during my 20s. I had endometriosis and a lot of issues, and that I didn't stop to think about who I really was. And then when I started playing music, because I just needed to feel good about myself again after having gone through that whole infertility thing, I just started playing out and I started writing. and playing in the bars and in the women's bars and the lesbian bars and Wilton Manors and Fort Lauderdale. That's when I met Denise and Donna with the Lesbian Lounge. And,
awesome.
And everyone was saying, like, you know, are you sure? You know, you sure? Like everybody's wondering about me.
Like, who's this guy? Who's that guy? What's this guy doing here?
Isn't that funny? And so all of
those, that's my husband. We're like, oh.
Like, for now, you know, and
wow.
You're okay with? You're gonna stick with like, we want the exclusive on our show when you come out. I'm like, me, you know, I'm playing in the clubs, you know. But so all of those feelings is what I wrote about my first two albums. That if you hear like those songs, that's what you hear. So it's a lot of unrequited love and wanting people you can't have, but the one thing I could never write was a love song. And people have asked me to write their wedding song, and I have a really tough time with that. And I have a friend who's also a writer and a musician, and she said, you can't sell it because you don't buy it. And I'm like, wow. Right? Like, that was so deep when she told me that. I'm like, wow, you know, you're right. You are, you know, so I guess
I'll write that down.
You can't sell it if you don't buy it.
I actually gravitated towards guitar when I wanted to get into songwriting. And then from there, I started getting into recording, and I wanted to record my songs. And I had a Fostex 4-track cassette recorder. And I needed bass and drums. And I was like, go out and converse with members of the human race, or teach yourself those two instruments. I shall teach myself those two instruments. That's where that came from. And it's actually served me pretty well. It's worked out all right. But that was the whole reason that I taught myself, is because I need a rhythm section for my song.
So you're the rhythm section.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I kind of learned drums and bass around the same time when I was 17. I started teaching myself those two things. Yeah,
self-taught too. Self-taught. That's amazing. Honestly.
Thank you.
My wife's like that though. Like she plays violin, but then, of course she can play guitar. She can, put like a keyboard thing on her phone and can bang out like something on her phone. And I'm just not musically inclined. Like creative is all get out, Like, I wrote 3 books, but I can't learn music for anything. You know
wow.
I mean? Like, I cannot.
Dude, yeah.
That's but cool. You know what? Like you guys were saying about songwriting, for me, writing books is it's write what you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you're just gonna be able to complete it. Whereas when I was writing something that wasn't a life experience for me, I dove in head first, and I realized that to balance that out, I had to write things that I did know about, like JD. I know you love the book Good at It, because a lot of it takes place in Florida, and it was all my Florida experiences, but none of it happened. None of what the character was going through happened to me. So like I still had to have things that I knew about to feel comfortable to get through it. Mm-hmm. So I'm very much about like write what you know. Like I couldn't write, a book about a satellite technology company. Like I couldn't do that. So I have to like keep it light and keep it comic and make it more about stuff that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So you write fiction stuff, Denise?
No, the first one. Change the names kind of thing. So it wasn't, it was literally kind of like my coming out story. And because the publisher had a minimum, we had to break it up into 2. So qualified as 2 books.
I got
it. Yeah. And I got another one in the works, like I got the index cards written out and everything. I just got to piece it together and start typing.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
and
cool.
I'm really fortunate though, because like one of my best friends is an editor. So yeah, when we were working on the first one, I knew that she was going to have an incredibly hard time. Like, she's so quintessential British, she's like changing all the don'ts and can'ts to cannot and do not. Like, oh, you guys don't use contractions like the way. She's like, not really. So yeah, it was funny. Like, she would give me back a stack of notes, of changes.
Oh wow,
man! But she's so smart that everything we compromised on some things because I really wanted it in my voice, but she was so great. And I gave up like 6 months into the submitting it to publishers journey. I completely gave up and just said this after I got like a couple of rejections, I'm like, this is bullshit, like I'm not doing this anymore. And Katie just like took it and ran with it. And like a year later, she came back to me and said, we got a publisher. And I'm like, I didn't even know you were still submitting. Yeah, so it was really cool. Like, not only do we got a publisher, you got a 3-book deal. So
that
it was
awesome.
Yeah. So
I knew that whole story.
Yeah, split one into two. And then I had a short story that I just built on and made it the third. So I banged out my 3 novels in like 8 months. I was done. Like, I had a year to write 3 and I like banged them out in a little over 6 months. So yeah, now I have time to. It's nice when you're not under pressure, So now I can kind of at my own pace start piddling around and see what we come up with and then give it to Katie. Because I'm not good at submitting it and not good at getting rejection letters. So I let her handle that. And like, don't tell me who's rejected it, because then I'll go online and I'll be like, I'll hate her. Like, I hate this publisher. Oh my God, I hate them. So don't tell me who rejected it, But yeah, it's fun. It's a good way to fill the days.
And I just had a show on Saturday and over here at the Arts Garage. And I did it, and people just think that's so cool. I went back and played with the drummer, but I was telling them
I was floored because I didn't even know that she could play drums.
Yeah, I actually played drums first in my first band before I played anything else. And then because I was writing, I played guitar. But also, like you, Katie, I started out with the piano. That was my basic learning as a child. We all had to take piano lessons. I guess you didn't know that about me, Denise.
I didn't. I feel like I'm learning something new week after week after week. And we've known each other forever.
Right?
I was going to say, are you sure you've known each other forever?
It's crazy. I want to be exclusive on your sexuality, and I'm getting everything else.
Right, yeah. Just got the important information down.
Yeah, that and the drum.
The man flowers in Barney's arms as I disembark.
I love it.
I love that.
It's all part of my thing, It's all part of my story.
This has got a lot of planning involved. I love this.
Isn't that good?
A lot of ceremony.
Like, can I bring you anything from Costco?
That's right. We did that. That was fun, wasn't it?
That was fun.
Didn't I introduce you to Costco? Come on.
Yes. No, she actually did. And Sharon, I'm going to tell you right now, if it weren't for you, we would never have jumbo paper towels in my home.
See?
I find
she gives and she gives.
Yeah, I found American things. I get it shipping every week now. I'm like, yeah, I can't even. It's fantastic. But yeah, that was fun. Yeah,
it's hard for me to keep up.
It's amazing.
I met him. I met him and Diana.
What?
Really?
The last night they were ever in public together. The next morning, the Prime Minister announced their separation.
Are you kidding?
Because
I have a picture of it.
Was it because of you?
Well, I have to tell you, he did lean in. I'm telling you the truth. I watched him. You're never supposed to look at them when they're coming down the line, but I, of course, was looking at him the whole time. And he leaned in and whispered in my ear, "I'm a great fan of yours."
Oh, wow. Honey, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. And thank Don for setting
always.
Thank you.
Yes.
Always for that guy.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys. Thanks again.
Bye.
Why do you always run back to
It's like never stop chasing your dreams.
We drank way too much whiskey.
That's true. My addiction. And I
See?
addiction is you. Don't ask me why I'm here tonight. I had to take this midnight drive to find you. And as I come in through the door, I see her dancing on the floor beside you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You look at me and in my eyes you see the hurt I can't disguise. I want you. And though it seems I look right through, I'm noticing your every move. She's got you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. I turn away to mask the pain, but jealousy reveals my rage and madness. And knowing you can read my mind consumes me in a shameful kind of sadness. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You are my drug, my ever waking need. I got you in my blood. You've got me on my knees. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I